In this video, I'm going to show you how to determine whether or not your business can afford to hire a virtual assistant. And in this video, I'm going to help you answer the question whether or not your business can afford to hire a virtual assistant. Now, before we get started, let me just say that there are a number of different factors you need to take into account when considering whether it is right or not for your business to hire a VA. But by the end of this video, you'll have a good idea of what those are and have the information so that you can make an informed decision. So let's jump in. Hi there, my name is Annette Ferguson and I am CEO of Annette Co, a UK-based accounting firm. I'm a chartered accountant and certified profit first professional. Let's start by answering the question, what is a virtual assistant? Well, a virtual assistant is an independent contractor who provides administration, creative, or technical services remotely to their clients. And they are often used by business owners or busy professionals to help alleviate them of some of the many tasks they have on their plate. Services offered by virtual assistants can range wildly depending on the virtual assistant's specific skill sets. They can include things like social media management or email and calendar management. Even producing graphics can be in the remit of a virtual assistant. Virtual assistants are typically paid hourly or by project, which means they can be really cost effective for small businesses. And thanks to technology, working with a virtual assistant nowadays is incredibly straightforward. But before you hire a virtual assistant, it is important to be really clear on the specifications of the project or work they are going to do and communicate your expectations with them upfront. So what services can a virtual assistant typically provide? Well, virtual assistants are highly skilled and typically administrative-based professionals who provide support services remotely. They can provide a wide range of tasks, including things like scheduling appointments, managing emails, handling customer service inquiries, preparing presentations, scheduling social media posts, making graphics, and the list goes on. In today's very busy world, virtual assistants are a very popular choice for small business owners to help them stay organized and get things off their own to-do list. They can provide a much needed extra set of hands, freeing your time to focus on bigger, more strategic things in your business. And before we understand whether we can actually afford a virtual assistant in our business, we need to know how much virtual assistants cost. Well, a virtual assistant is a cost-effective way of getting help with various tasks. Like I said, they typically charge hourly or on a project basis. In the UK, you can expect to pay anything from around £20 to £40 an hour for a virtual assistant, and perhaps higher if they have specific technical skills. There is also, of course, the option to look at virtual assistants out with your home country because, of course, by very nature, virtual assistants are virtual, which means you have the opportunity to look in other countries for the support that you might be looking for, and in which case you may be able to get a virtual assistant for a cheaper hourly rate, one which, of course, is still an incredible rate for the country that they are in, but you get a little bit of a discount when you look at it compared to the country you are in. It can be a win-win situation. So of course, before you commit to taking on a VA, it's important to make sure that your business can afford those additional monthly payments and any other associated costs that may exist. To calculate how much your VA is going to cost you monthly, you'll need to look at the hourly rate they are quoting along with the expected number of hours that you believe you'll be able to utilize them for. Virtual assistants are typically freelancers, so you're unlikely to have required tax, national insurance contributions for them. But do remember that you may have increases in other costs in your business as a result of taking on a virtual assistant. For example, if you are using software that requires a payment per seat or per user, you may have to spend additional money on that software. For example, things like Slack for internal communications. You may also want to give them an email address of your business, in which case you're likely to have an increased cost for adding an additional email address to your email services. Only in understanding these additional costs can you really get a true picture of what your VA is likely to cost you overall. And once you have that accurate figure, you can plug that number into your financial forecast, or as we like to do here, into your profit plan. A profit plan is a forward-looking financial forecast for a business with profitability principles layered in, ensuring that the business is profitable every single month, that the owner has a good level of take home, and that you're setting aside money for tax. The profit plan is also the name of my book, so you can check out the link in the description to the video for that. But like I said, we want to make sure that we slot in those additional payments into our forecast or profit plan so that we can assess whether or not we can then afford that virtual assistant. When you do that, I don't want you to assume that getting a VA in place is going to free up your time so much that you have a massive jump in revenue. This is something that many people do. They get overexcited and they end up in a place where their projected revenue as a result of taking on the VA is not quite as the actuals come out, and you end up with problems. So don't assume because you're taking a virtual assistant on board that your revenue will suddenly jump up and that's how you'll be able to afford to pay for them. If nothing else, you'll have a training period and bedding in period for your virtual assistants that will end up taking up your own time. So now you've slotted in that number into your forecast. Is your business still profitable with the costs associated with the VA in there? Are you still able to meet all your other financial requirements of your business when you look at all the income and spending put together? Are you still able to pay yourself and your taxes? Ultimately, without a forecast or profit plan in place, it becomes very difficult to plan any forward purchasing in your business, including taking on new team members such as a virtual assistant. Now, if you are getting value from this video, I would love if you want to make sure you like and subscribe. So how do you find the right VA for your business? Well, firstly, you need to take some time to actually assess your needs. You need to review the tasks that you are doing that you want off your plate that you can hand over to someone else. Do you want somebody for customer service inquiries or social media? Do you want someone to handle your email? Some of these are going to be different skill sets, and therefore you need to understand what those tasks are before you go out looking for your ideal VA. For most virtual assistants, you can check out things like reviews and past customer testimonials in order to understand the type of work they do and whether people have been happy with them before. Of course, you can interview your potential VA, meeting up with them virtually so that you can assess if you're going to get on with each other. And with a little time and effort in doing these things, you're sure to find the perfect VA for you. And once you have a VA on board, managing and training your virtual assistant is really important. Lots of people take on a VA and then they just chuck tons of stuff at them in the hope that the VA just knows what to do. They're just relieved to get this stuff off their to-do list, and they don't actually think about the training and managing of this person. But they do need trained and managed, even if they have many, many years being a VA. They still need to understand your business, its objectives, and how they can work best with the way that you communicate and the best ways that you work. So don't expect to throw your VA in at the deep end and for them to come out performing incredibly well. Make sure that you are setting aside time, particularly in those initial weeks and months when you bring on a VA, to train and manage them efficiently and effectively so that they can perform for you. Things that can help are clearly defining the tasks that you want your virtual assistant to do and being very specific with the steps involved. You can also make sure that you set clear goals and deadlines so that everyone involved knows what is due and when. And make sure you keep the lines of communication very open with your virtual assistant. It is likely they will have a lot of questions, particularly in the beginning of your working relationship, and they need to know that they can ask those of you so they can ultimately perform a better job in the long run. So if you're on the fence about whether to hire a virtual assistant for your business or not, hopefully this video has given you some clarity. Deciding to outsource tasks can be a big decision, but remember, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. You don't need to take on a VA for 40 hours a week from day one. You can introduce a VA a few hours a week at a time and build up the amount of time you use them from there. Start small and see how it goes. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you got value from this video. If you did, please do remember to like this video and hit the subscribe button. Also, turn on the bell so you know next time I upload a video about all things business and money.